It's difficult to pinpoint the conventions of short films, as it's clear that they all vary due to individuality. However, there are some common ground between them, such as the length, storylines, characters, budget, niche audience, and distribution. The length of a short film will commonly last between 3 to 20 minutes, but they can vary and some last up to 40. The storylines are generally kept simple and easy to follow and will be based over a short period of time. The narrative is usually condensed with a limited dialogue. Instead, characters will be developed through images and actions rather than extended, lengthy dialogue sequences. Due to the length and simplicity in storyline, a short film will usually introduce up to 3 main characters. Creating backstories to develop characters is limited due to timing. This is also done in order to keep the audience engaged and able to follow the storyline without being bombarded with information and new people. Short films usually only last long enough to connect the audience to a couple of characters, not having enough time to develop a large enough storyline for a whole cast. The audiences of short films are often a lot smaller and niche than mainstream due to the specific creative nature, length, and storylines. Although largely accessible, those who aren't film fanatics don't tend to be aware of the short film industry. Published through the internet, there are many sites who distribute short films online, from independent to established sites such as the BBC. I decided that my short film would be a hybrid of social realism and drama genres, after getting some inspiration from not only short films such as Touch and A Favour, but also feature-length films such as Fish Tank and Submarine. The conventions of my chosen drama and social realism come through the use of cinematography and editing. The green tint that was used over a lot of the shots was used after watching the opening sequence of Fish Tank, a social realism and independent film that I studied last year, and noticing the slight alteration of the colours in the shot, I felt like this was an effective way, as it meant that the audience would have a preconception of the mood of the short film before really getting into the narrative. What makes Fish Tank a captivating film is the mixture of extreme close-up shots of individual characters and long shots of settings. The close-up shots allow the audience to build a relationship with the main character and evoke a feeling of sympathy. And with one of the genres being social realism, this is a pretty critical convention. Similarly, the long shots allow the audience to see how the characters live, getting a feeling of understanding and empathy with the storyline. These are both features that I've tried to recreate within my short film. It's conventional of the social realism genre to have a main setting indoors, not taking too much attention away from the storyline and main characters. Had my short film been set entirely outside at the seaside, then the feeling of intimacy with the characters would have been lost within the distracting location, therefore becoming unconventional of the genre. Todorov's narrative theory would lead you to believe that there is a general set order for all films: the introduction of the equilibrium, the disruption of the equilibrium, the recognition of the disruption, the fixing of the equilibrium, followed by a new equilibrium. I have subverted against this with my short film. The audience do automatically become acquainted with the main characters, but opposed to following a storyline as such, the audience spend the 5 minutes following the main character through her day-to-day routine, whilst listening to a monologue that runs over the top. I took inspiration for this from the short film Dear Diary, that also has a running monologue over the top of the entire sequence. After creating the short film, the film poster and review were my next priority. I studied various film posters before creating my own. Fish Tank and Submarine. I chose to analyse these specifically because they are social realism and drama genres, and contain the conventions that my film poster was intended to conform. The next stage was to plan a few general ideas for film posters that I sketched out and took to my target audience for feedback. After getting a general consensus for one of the film posters, I took it away and made a hard copy on Photoshop. Having not used the software before, I feel my film poster could have been more advanced and conventional to the specific genres of my short film. However, the film review that was to go with my poster following the short film was successful, and I am happy with the outcome. Studying various views that came from the Sight and Sound and Empire magazines, I quickly adapted to the common features of such texts. I learnt the structure of the page from Empire magazine and took to InDesign to create the final piece. After drafting the writing and getting marks from my teachers, I added this to the film review, creating a professional copy.